Welcome to Community. I'm your host, Cody Thompson, and on today's episode, we're going to be chatting with the lovely Nikki from Down Syndrome WA, who's going to add a lot of perspective from a both personal and professional manner. Nikki, it's great to have you on here today.
Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
Great to have you here in the studio, which is awesome.
Yeah.
For our audience that are dialing in, listening in today, tell us a little bit about yourself and your connection to the disability sector.
Yeah, so I work at Down Syndrome WA. I have been there for 14 years.
Wow.
So I came into the space of, I guess, the disability sector through my son, Will, who surprised us at birth by having Down syndrome.
Yep.
So he's my third son. So I already had Zach
3 boys.
and Taj. Yep, 3 boys. And yeah, it was a complete shock that he had Down syndrome. So we've kind of just learnt and travelled this journey together, learning each new stage as we go. But I threw myself into the Down syndrome community and the Down syndrome world, and then, you know, by that through the disability world as well, which has been a blessing. In disguise, I think.
Absolutely. And I mean, we'll talk more about it and the amazing work that you and the team do at Down Syndrome WA. But if we start on being Will's mum and that diagnosis stage, or even like you said, it was a surprise at birth.
Yeah.
How did you navigate that, especially already having 2 kids and then this is very different all of a sudden?
Yeah. So it was quite a shock, as you can imagine. I handled it probably the same way every other parent does at the very beginning. I was devastated. I was upset. I was grieving what I thought Will's life was going to be like. My husband was an absolute rock. He grieved with me a little bit in that, and then he just went, right, let's go. Take him home.
Good.
Go treat him the same as the boys.
Good, yeah.
And that's what we've done. So we've continued to treat Will just the same as his brothers. So it was definitely quite distressing at the beginning. That kind of leads me into, I guess, why I started working at Down Syndrome WA. So very early on, I just wanted to be part of the community and kind of like met other families and wanted to stay connected. I had lots of friends with kids with around the same age, and my sisters had kids and stuff, but nobody else had a child with a disability or with Down syndrome. So I just wanted to connect with other people kind of living their normal lives the same as us, sort of thing, with a child with Down syndrome. And so through that, I started volunteering and going out and visiting families in my area that had a child so that I could connect them into the community. And then that kind of just snowballed into what it is today of me working at Down Syndrome WA. But yeah, it was what I really needed at the beginning, and why I still do that side of it as well, where I go out and visit new families once they've had either a prenatal or postnatal diagnosis, and just kind of give them a balanced view, because in those early days it's very medical. You're being told all the things that might go wrong and that come along with Down syndrome medically. And myself and my team now, I have a team under me. For the first 10 years, I was kind of doing it on my own.
Solo,
But it's really, really great. We've got telethon funding that we can have a team under us now, all with lived experience. Myself or my team will go out and just be able to give that perspective of like, yes, there is medical things that come along and things like that, but this is also what life is going to be like.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you've seen that journey the whole way through now as well, so you can add so much. Like I think you mentioned off camera, Will's 17 now, so like you've seen so much, so you can add so much perspective across that journey.
Yeah, definitely, and so many different sort of stages, I think. And like my colleague Paula, she has a son who's 2, so she's kind of in that early days, which is great. And she had a prenatal diagnosis, so she found out while she was pregnant, whereas I found out after. So we can really give that kind of balanced, and we kind of do that, like, oh, this is a prenatal one, do you want to do it, because they'll probably be able to relate more to you. And it is nice, I guess, for people to be able to see Will growing up and just living life, basically, is what we want to show.
100%. Now, you mentioned right at the top, you found out about the diagnosis and you wanted to sort of like get into the community, which was the Down syndrome community as a whole. Like, so it sounds like it already existed to a degree. I know it's very different now. But like, what does that community look like?
Yeah, so it's actually our 40th anniversary this year. So it's definitely been around way longer than I have.
Yeah.
And the early founders were really the mums, probably similar to me, but there was nothing. And they had to start something for advocacy and connection and all those sorts of things. So, I was really taken under the wings of 3 beautiful ladies that were there from the very beginning, and taught me a lot in those early days. But when we had Will, there was a new parent morning tea once a term.
Yep.
And so that was the first thing that I went to. And then myself and a few of the other mums were like, and parents, dads were there too, were like, this is not enough. Like we want to see each other more.
Yep.
So we kind of created like an do-it-yourself play group, I guess, where we would all have a catch-up at one of our houses. But then obviously as more people like had babies and the association were like, oh, do you mind them joining? We were like, yeah, of course. All of a sudden it's getting bigger and bigger and my house is not getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and, part of our sort of ethos, I guess, is that making sure that siblings are included. Like, so it's not just this is for the child with Down syndrome. It's always like siblings are included and everyone's there. So obviously it got quite big and then, we approached the association and said we think there's a need for a play group, which then started and it was once a fortnight in one location, and then it's now we've got 3 play groups weekly.
Wow.
During school terms, so it's amazing. It's like just so needed in those, especially in those early years.
Yeah,
and then it builds those bonds for going further as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Life. Yeah.
And you touched on the siblings and coming along, which I love. I think, rightfully so, we direct a lot of our attention to the person with a disability, but siblings can quite often be left behind.
Yeah.
You mentioned you got 3 boys. Will was the third. Like, how did that dynamic shift at home and how's that sort of, turned into now? They're obviously all older as well. Like, what does that all look like?
I actually asked the boys probably a couple of years ago, the older boys, Will was involved in a campaign where it was through Celebrate T21 where they do gift packs and books to give to new families and to health professionals and stuff like that. And I wanted it to be around the boys and not just Will, the whole family and stuff. And I said, they just want a quote about what it's like to have a brother with Down syndrome or be a sibling. And they just both kind of like looked at me like, what do you mean? Like
my brother.
This is just my brother. This is just my life, Like, well, yeah, he's annoying when he doesn't do his dishes and then or he steals my, PlayStation thing. It's just like,
how good is that?
Okay, that's really good. That I couldn't even pull a statement out of them, I guess. So that's kind of, Will's the youngest of 11 cousins as well, and we're a very close family. So he literally is just treated the same as they're actually 12 cousins now. My brother's had a baby.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, awesome.
So he's just part of the family, part of the, we had one of my niece's 21st on the birthday on the weekend and we were at the pub and Will's there and he's mingling and, it's just,
I love, that's honestly such a cool thing to hear. Just like the fact that there was no quote and they were just so like, what do you mean? I'm like,
at the time I was thinking, come on guys. And then I thought, actually that was our aim, was that we were just going to take Will home, treat him the same as the other boys. And obviously along the way there's been little things like when he was younger, there was a few more respiratory health things. So obviously I would be in hospital with Will and Dad would be home with the boys and things like that. But we went travelling around Australia with 3 boys under the age of 6 when Will was
to anyone.
I was like, it had nothing to do with Will having Down syndrome, the chaos.
3 boys in a contained space.
Caravan under the age of 6. Like that was the craziness, but we just wanted to, that's what we wanted to do. And we were like, well, why don't we just do it? So we, I guess probably the only thing that we made sure we did was made sure we knew where the next hospital was.
Yep.
So for his respiratory stuff.
Yep.
That was kind of the only, we even took a break on all the early intervention stuff and he actually thrived because he was with his brothers 24/7 and he just wanted to keep up with them.
Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. And again, credit to you guys as parents and just how it should be, right? And it's just, I don't know. I just love that. That is so
And that's
great.
what I like to say to parents when I go out and visit them. Like, if you're a full driving family and camping, continue doing that.
Correct.
If you're go to Bali for a family holiday, continue doing that. Like, there's honestly nothing that I've ever gone, oh, we can't do that because Will's got Down syndrome.
Yep.
You know, there may be tweaks or little things that you got to put in there, but nothing that we've just gone, oh, no, hard no, because Will's got Down syndrome.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
And you mentioned at the top between yourself and your colleague, but like you work on, a diagnosis during the pregnancy versus people that find out at birth and that sort of stuff. Like, to me, I don't want to say it shocked me, but like, in a nice way, it's 2026. There's so many medical advancements and stuff. I would, in my very uneducated opinion, feel like it would be very rare for that to happen, but clearly it still does.
Oh, definitely still does. Yeah, it definitely still happens where people, whether it's people not getting those tests because they don't care, whatever and a lot of those tests are invasive and can cause, miscarriage and stuff, and people don't want to risk that. Or people find out and they're just like, yeah, okay, now what? Let's go forward sort of thing. So, definitely. Somebody asked me that the other day, and I would say it's still probably 50-50 of like, found out and didn't find out, and didn't know. So,
And how do you, obviously, in knowing your experience, and like you said at the top, that's sort of the families that you tend to work with, the ones that find out at birth. How do you now share some of your wisdom and some of your experience? Like, what are some of the, I guess, like, bits of information that you help early on to really guide people through that understanding phase and getting ready?
Yeah. I think it's important for the families to realise, like, they're a baby first. They're, take them home. They need feeding, loving, caring. Yeah. Obviously, if your child has medical issues in those early days, that's the things that you're going to focus on. And we do find that I'll go out and visit someone. But if they've got medical stuff going on, then, the Down syndrome diagnosis is secondary.
Irrelevant.
Like they
not
need to,
irrelevant, but like it's
it is. It's like, okay, we'll deal with that later.
Yep.
And so maybe they'll be focused on those medical things early on, and then they'll get connected into the community a little bit later, which is fine. Like, we just make sure everybody knows that we're here whenever you're ready, sort of thing. Definitely, they're just a baby first. Treat them the same way, like what I was told. Treat them the same way as you do your other children. Love them, care for them, throw as many opportunities at them as possible, as you would with your other children, and just I think 99% of people, I would say that they're like, life's way better. And, when I was scared to now is like a huge, huge thing, which I love seeing. Like, I guess, I go out and visit families when they're in that real grief, vulnerable moment, which can be quite, heartbreaking. But then like 2 years later, they're involved in the play group. They're the ones that are consoling the new parents that are there and making those connections and that's like, priceless.
I was gonna say, it must be
so
really
rewarding.
And I was honestly going to ask that question. Like, is it just that you see them at the start and then you don't see them again, or it sounds like you actually then see them?
No. We've got so much going on within the Down Syndrome Association that we really try to engage with and keep families active within the community. So as I said, we still do the new parent morning teas, parents and bub morning teas once a term, and then we've got 3 play groups which are quite spread out. So one's in Baldivis, one's in Gwelup, and one's in Rivervale. So we're trying to capture all the we do regional outreach as well. So we've got regional representatives in each region. So if a family's down there, then they can meet with a regional representative who's a volunteer. And then we go out and visit the regions as well. And then that just builds that connection. We've got online Facebook groups as well, private groups, so that people can then make those connections. So that, okay, I'm in Perth. I recently had a mum from Kalgoorlie who I haven't met yet, but we've met online, and she was at PCH for an appointment. So she's texting saying, "Oh, I'd love to meet you in real life," So already feel like they're part of the community, even if they can't be at everything. And then we've got our community events as well. So we've got World Down Syndrome Day, and we've got the gala for our over 18s coming up.
Cool.
And then we've got our biggest fundraiser in October, which is Step Up and Dance for Down Syndrome. So it used to be a walk, but when we just decided, let's just make it all about dancing. So we have groups come along that have all got people with Down syndrome or different disabilities in them, and do interactive dancing and stuff like that, which is a really cool day.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Hey guys, a quick message from our sponsors, SN Training. Are you looking for complex care training that you can trust? SN Training are nurse-owned and nurse-led, delivering both accredited training and non-accredited training with a focus in the NDIS high-intensity supports. Compassion is at the forefront of everything they do. They deliver evidence-based, practical education led by experienced nurses who role model best practice and inspire confidence when it comes to high-quality support. With human-centered practice at the heart of everything that they do, you'll not only learn, but you'll learn the right way. SN training is where expertise meets care and your learning makes a difference. We're so excited to be working with SN Training. They share the same passion that we have for shining the light on positivity in the NDIS sector and for people living with a disability, and we can't wait to keep working with them. Now back to the episode. So it sounds like there's so much happening that, and I'm going to very much oversimplify this, but it sounds like for a family that's out there or listening, it's simply just reaching out. Like step one is just getting involved in some way, shape or form because there is support out there. Is that fair?
Yep. And we do have if you haven't connected with the Down Syndrome Association in those early years, we have other groups. So we've got a primary school group called Kids Club that meet once a month, and we've got Friends for Life, which is our teens group that meet once a month, and we've got Aim High, which is our over 18s group. So there's something for everyone. We do open employment program. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything.
We've got so much going on.
I don't want to get in trouble.
But again, it's so great to hear that, at every stage there is at least some form of check-in or support or community involvement that you can get involved, which is great.
And we've even kind of now just in the last few years kind of extending that to later years as well, because a lot of our members, they are getting older. They're living longer lives, Back in the day, an average age of a person with Down syndrome life expectancy was like 28. Now it's 65 plus. Amazing. So, which is amazing, but all the services and stuff haven't really caught up. So it's like, we've got our CEO Cassandra has been really, really focused in that space as well, making sure that we're bringing back those members that maybe there hasn't been much for. So we've now got like a coffee club for our over 35s to connect, and some other different groups for parents of the older people to connect and stuff. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is. But that again is just so cool, and again, through that need of wanting to bring people together throughout the journey, that's just great.
Yeah.
You guys as Down Syndrome WA are doing so much work and bringing it all together. But what do you think the community can do better? Like for whether it's someone with Down syndrome, whether it's a family member that has a child with Down syndrome, as the broader community, what do you think we can do better?
I don't know. I think being involved in our community events. Like a lot of time and effort and everything goes into them, and it really is an important space to get to know other families and stuff. So just sort of making being involved in, the wider community can be involved in our World Down Syndrome Day events, our gala, Step Up and Dance for Down Syndrome, and all those. Just making sure that you're being involved, and we've got like an e-news that you can sign up to, and you find out everything that's going on and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And focusing on Will for a second, obviously with his Down syndrome diagnosis, I hate to assume, but I assume you'd be on the NDIS in terms of some kind of support.
Yes.
How have you navigated that journey? And I guess probably more in a quick summation, but there's a lot of noise.
Otherwise we'd be here all day.
It's a whole separate podcast episode.
Absolutely.
But how have you found that, and has the supports really been able to help Will thrive in that sense?
Yeah, so early days, NDIS didn't exist. So we were on the Disability Services Commission, which was good. We had our early intervention. We got some Better Start funding and things like that. We transitioned over to the NDIS. We've been pretty lucky in that we've always kind of got the supports that we need. When he turned about 14, 15 is when we started getting our support worker sort of funding and stuff, which has been life-changing for him, because it is really hard for, big families and things like that to just try and keep those connections within, outside of school hours and stuff like that. So he loves, he's actually with a organisation, or he's with a couple of organisations for support work, but one of them is Waterability.
Oh, yes, I love the guys at Waterability.
Yeah, and he just loves it. The camps, he's making friends through them. Like, they take him to the gym. So it really is really important. And then that takes me on to the next thing of like his plans up in September, and with all the changes going on in NDIS, it's freaking me out.
Absolutely. And that's what I was going to ask. Like, is part of your role then, I guess, helping people understand that those support networks are out there, and whether it's applying, whether it's, like you said, going through a plan review, like those sorts of things?
Yeah. So we don't have specific funding because Down Syndrome WA is non-funded, so we are a charity. And I don't think a lot of people realise that. So we don't have very much funding for advocacy and stuff, but we always do it anyway within our family support roles and within like the CEO's role and stuff. And we've just literally just put out a thing about, there's a rally on Saturday that people can go to make their voices known that they're not happy with the reforms and stuff. And like in our recent e-news, we put out tips of what to do for your next NDIS plan and things like that. So because I know there's a lot of, like you were saying, a lot of noise and a lot of scared families for what the future, like Will's year 12 transitioning into after school life next year, and the threat of social and community participation funding being slashed and all this sort of stuff. It's like, so what's he going to do? Sit at home 5 days a week like when he used to go to school? That's where he gets all his socialising and all that sort of stuff. So without going into it too much, and I think maybe being a parent as well alongside, supporting people as well, I am saying to people like, I'm just as scared as you, and like we're in this together, let's fight this together.
And that's the thing. I think it's about sharing your experiences and helping people, and for families to know there is support out there from different people, and
and if we can't do it, we can refer them on to somebody else that we know that can
use the network that you have. There is I find there's so much good information out there, but quite often you just can't find it.
And you're so stressed in those moments, you don't even know where to start looking.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned it again. You've got 3 kids. Like, that in itself is such a challenge of life for all of us. I've got 3 kids. Like, it's full on. So, to have to then know and understand this scheme and what to say and when to say it and what reports you need.
What words you need in there and all those
Exactly. It is so much. So I think that's where, regardless of where it's coming from, it's finding the right quality information. And like you said, if it's not coming directly from you guys, it's, well, we have these networks. These are the people that we can put you in touch with.
Definitely.
Cool. All right, Nikki, now we're going to move into the sharp 7. Okay, so
I'm scared.
It's fine, nothing crazy. We both love to chat. I think we're going to try and keep it short and sharp.
Sure.
Look, we're going to go on tangents. It's fine, but we'll try our best, okay? So question number 1 is, what's the best parenting advice you've ever received?
It actually was probably from the obstetrician that, the pediatrician that gave me the diagnosis of Will's having Down syndrome. And she just said, take him home, treat him the same as you would your other boys, and throw as many opportunities at him as possible, and you'll watch him grow and thrive. I kind of try and feed that on to all the families that I meet and visit.
Big time. Well, I mean, you've mentioned it in a good way a couple of times today, and I think that is like the key message to take away. It just, in a nice way, it should be exactly the same. It's going to be some things around it, but ultimately that's how it should be treated. All right, question 2. What's the biggest learning that you've had as a parent?
It actually probably does have to do with Will, and it's just that Will and Taj and Zach, they all are just so different. And, the way that you parent one child may not work for another child.
Absolutely.
And just like you kind of do have to adjust yourself and mold yourself to each child to give the best mum version of yourself to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, cool. Okay, and I've got another one on parenthood as well. But like, what's one thing parenthood has taught you on yourself, like who you are as a person?
I think I haven't always been big and bubbly and like confident, and I think so Taj, my middle boy, also had some struggles at school and stuff like that, and then having Will, that kind of like advocacy mum and that kind of mama bear has grown obviously over the years. And I feel like that obviously has merged into my work life as well, which has been really beneficial for me to be able to advocate and help other families as well. But I think that's thanks to having the 3 boys all being so different and having to advocate for them at different stages, and not thinking back in the day that I would be able to do that, and now it's like, no, I'm doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think empowering other people to go, no, you have to advocate. Like,
yes,
it's
you got to be the
gotta-
squeaky wheel. You got to be,
absolutely.
yeah.
What about what's a small win that means a lot to you? Something, whether it's recent or over the time, but like a small win that, again, to someone else might not mean much, but to you is actually a big difference.
I think when people compliment me on the way my children are, is a big win every time. Like when people say, "Oh, Zach's such a lovely boy," or "Taj is such a great, funny guy," or "Will's so polite," and comes home from camp and they're like, "Oh, he helped us with the dishes in the kitchen," and all that. Those small wins are like, okay, yeah, we're doing something right.
We're doing yeah.
Not just me, Luke as well,
Team
but
effort.
we're doing something right.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And if you could go back in time and tell your younger self one thing, and obviously you'd be buy Bitcoin and all those sorts of things, I'm sure, or what a lot of numbers are. But what's one thing you could go back and tell your younger self? What would it be?
I only ever wanted to be a mum. Like that was, I kind of what I wanted to be. And I would tell myself that, yes, it's scary, but it's very worth, and what, that path that you want to go on is actually what you should be doing.
Love it. So it's just validation that you're on it's going to happen. It's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. What's one activity or hobby that you do outside of work, outside of being a mum, that just helps recharge you and keep you going?
I've recently started Pilates.
Oh, okay. That's a dangerous game. Okay. Yep. It's great. I say that my wife is a Pilates instructor.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. And it can get a bit addictive, I think.
It is,
yeah. So that's something that I do for myself. I also like to just sit and watch trashy reality TV.
Yeah, cool. Just a guilty pleasure outside. Yeah, that's fine. Well, it's good. I think these are the things you've got to have your escapes in different ways.
Yeah.
And Pilates is a punishing escape, I think. Like I said, my wife has forced me to do a few workouts over the journey. And
I love it when the guys are in the class, actually.
It's
like the big bulky gym guys are in the class and they're struggling like, ugh.
Oh, it kicks your butt. For anyone that's thinking about doing reformer Pilates, it kicks your butt. Yes. But no, it's good. And I think, like you said, you've got to have that escape and that ability. So
yeah.
Cool. And our last question in the Sharp 7 is always, how do you define community?
I think it's just people with maybe just one similar interest. Like it doesn't always have, like I always say, within our community, you're not going to be best friends with everybody, but we're all got something in common. So having that something in common and being passionate about something, and supporting each other in those different things that might come up.
Yeah, perfect. Well, look, we've talked about so many different things, so I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I really appreciate you being so raw and honest about your story, and it's so great to hear like the bubbly side of you and how that sort of has really influenced so many families going through this journey.
Oh,
so
thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
What's your message for anyone listening out there, whether it's potentially a family going through diagnosis or seeing what's out there? Like, if one thing you could leave us with today, what would that be?
Do you want me to look at the camera?
Yeah. Right down the barrel.
Right down deep. I think it would be to reach out to the Down Syndrome Association. We are here to support you in any way that you feel comfortable. Reach out to the Down Syndrome Association, Down Syndrome WA, and someone from our team would be able to reach out to you and we can come and meet with you and answer any questions and get you connected in with the community.
Absolutely. I think it's so powerful to know that there is that support out there. And I think even I've learned so much about just at every stage along the journey, there is something there for people.
Yeah.
And, like we talked about, step one is literally just asking for that help.
Yes. So. Yeah. And if you haven't been a part of the association and you feel like, oh, I didn't do it back then, that doesn't matter. We're here at any stage that you're ready.
Yeah, perfect. And if someone is ready and they're listening, how do they get in touch?
So they can contact us on family support at downsyndromewa.org.au, or you can just look up our website and we've also got like admin address and phone numbers on there.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed hearing all about it.
No worries. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's been great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.